Howdy, howdy. Today we are talking about burnout, and it'll be an interesting one because I have definitely been burnt out before, and it's not for the reasons that you think. Burnout, I heard Z-Dog, he's a physician who has a great YouTube channel. He has talked about it as being moral injury in the sense of what you're doing at work does not line up with what you feel meaningful, or that you are doing work that is actively going against what you feel is the right thing to do of how the world should be. Now, like I said, I've been burned out before on a couple occasions, once in grad school, or a couple times with my business, and they were both deeply unsettling. And I think that, for me at least, the burnout itself came from, yes, working a lot of hours, usually well over 40 hours, not getting enough sleep, not exercising enough, and then also the work itself being uninspiring and boring, quite frankly, where it's the same thing day in, day out. You can't wait for certain parts of the day to be over, and you're always trying to finish up early and get out of there. And at one point, I was like, maybe this is just like all there is, because I had a business, and that's what everyone said that is like the pinnacle of professional life, and just the pinnacle of being an American, I suppose, is having your own business and kind of controlling your own future. But no one told me that I'd have a ton of symptoms of burnout and then actually becoming burnt out. So that was interesting. And so definitely, if you're working too many hours and you're not enjoying those hours, then you could be, struggling with burnout or starting to experience burnout. But more so, I think what leads to that, and I made a video about this previously about apathy, but you start going to work and there's nothing new. You're not trying to learn any new things. You're not trying to improve, and you're just kind of like stuck on autopilot. And I think for some reason, humans just can't do well with autopilot. It's not to say that we can't, I'm sorry, it's windy. It's not to say that we can't we can't have routine. I think routine is great and helpful, especially with building like really good habits. But we also have to take into consideration that if we're just doing the same thing over and over and over again, our brain starts to kind of turn off and just go into like this automation mode. And I think that as human beings, like, our brain needs that stimulation, that challenge, and to continue to learn and apply new things in order to stave off burnout, in order to stay engaged in work. And honestly, I think this just gets to the point of it's work is like any relationship, in the sense of, if you don't nurture it, and if you don't do things that are going to improve the situation, like if you never took your partner on a date, or if you just go to the same spot every single time, and there's no variety, and there's no spontaneity, and there's no real learning or growing, things get bland and they get boring. And when things get boring, all these thoughts start to creep up in terms of, is this working, right? And so it's very important from a work perspective too, to always be learning and introducing new things into whatever you're doing. At least that's how I have addressed these problems and continue to do so. Hope that is helpful. Have a good one, and see you in the next one.